Hi everyone, today I am going to be starting this picture here. Now this is from the Night Before Christmas colouring book, and inside the cover we have little pictures showing you how to colour each page. Now what I've done is I've blown up the picture for this particular page. It is very blurred, but it allows me to have a bit of an idea about what colours each bit should be. I'm not going to colour it exactly as it is, but it gives me a clue, like with the shadows, where it should be light and dark, you know, the shadow here and that sort of thing. So I'm going to use that as I go. So I'm going to use my Polychromos pencils. I don't know, I haven't done any colouring in this book yet, so I don't know what the paper's like. It feels quite smooth, but we'll see how it all goes. And let's sort of make a start on these logs. Now if we look in the picture, they're quite a grey brown colour. I'm going to choose something from Polychromos, but we haven't really got grey brown, so I'm just going to use the nougat. Okay, and we can see in the picture, let's come in a bit closer for you. We don't need to be this far away. I will move the book up in a minute, don't worry. I'll just move my guide picture to the side. There we go. So we can see that the shadow is drawn in here and the shapes of the logs and everything. So I'm just going to start putting down a light layer of nougat. I just want to see how it's going to look really once I get some colour down, having not coloured in the book before. I've put some paper, blank paper behind the page as well, because I don't know whether the print is going to move as I colour. What I mean is sometimes when you colour on the back of a page, the printing that's on the page below can just come off onto the facing page. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen, because we've got the story on that side. We don't want to ruin that. So it's always wise to put a piece behind. It's quite difficult to find pieces the right size. If you've got a book that's a standard size, then you can use a bit of copy paper. But this is a square book, so what do? Well, I am very lucky. I have a roll of paper. It's drawing paper, kids drawing paper. It was very, very cheap. When Woolworths was closing down all those years ago, they had these rolls of plain white paper for about 10p, and my husband bought about a zillion rolls because our children were young and they used to colour, and he thought it would be really good for them to just scribble on, you know. And I pinched them. I've got a few rolls left still. As I say, he bought loads, so they're very useful. So that's what I use. Now you could just leave that there. I think it's fine, but I'm actually going to get a slightly darker colour. I'm going to go with my dark umber, I think. Burnt umber, sorry, wrong name, burnt umber. And just put a little bit over the lower bits, just to make them even darker. But you may not even really notice. It's already marked darker on the picture, so you can use it as a guide. It's nice and straightforward. It just gives it a slightly more three-dimensional look. You could also colour over these lines, this bit, all these marks if you want to. I think I'm going to leave them to just speak for themselves. Keep it simple. Why not? Now we have these. Now I'm not sure what these are. I think they look like fire dogs, but they're actually supporting the logs, so I don't know. We don't have a fire dog because we have our whatever this is here. I mean, I don't know even what that is, because it's not a poker because it's got a round end. But these look like they're supposed to be slightly shiny. I think they look maybe brassy. So that's how I'm going to colour them. I'm going to not do them as brown as in that picture. So we'll see anyway how they come out, I guess. So I'm going to start with my burnt umber. We're going to do a sort of gold colour really. So I'm just going to use it on the edge of each. Now we've got some shading here on the edges anyway. I'm going to just ignore it at the moment and just get the whole edge coloured in like that. I think that is like the foot bit. And then this side the same. We'll also do this bit and this bit behind as well, just to do all of it in one go. Now I don't want it as dark as the logs, as brown as the logs, so this is just the edge. And it's just the same on here, so really just the edge. You don't have to be too particular, I don't think. It's quite a sketchy. I'm just going to colour that in. I think it'll benefit from being a bit darker. It's really just quite a sketchy style, so I think, of drawing. So I think you can be quite sketchy in your colours, not get too... Is that the bottom of one of those? I think it is like that. So I don't think you need to get too worried about neatness. Not that I do anyway, because I'm not a neat colourist. There we go. Now I'm going to put a bit of warmth into this, I think. Or shall I? Is it going to work? Yeah. So a bit more than is in the picture. So I'm going a bit off-piste. So I'm using my brown ochre, which is quite a yellowy brown. I think it will help it to look more gold. And although this is a nighttime poem and picture, I think it won't hurt from a little splash of shine. It could be reflecting the moonlight, the, you know, anything really. And it's not that bright, you know. I'm bringing this in a little bit because I want to just have 3 colours here. So I need to, oh, I've gone out the lines there. No one noticed. I want to just keep it quite straightforward like that. And then the same on this side. So just bring it in a bit. You can see here this is darker, so I might just do a bit of making that a bit more of this colour. So when I come in with my lighter colour, it's in the places that are marked lighter. So that's darker there and there and there. That will do for now. We can mark a bit more dark colour in a minute. So I'm going to go for my green gold. This will be my last colour. I need to sharpen it though, because I've got to get in that teeny space at the top. Right. Like that. And usually I leave a bit of white for reflection, but I think because it's dark, we'll just fade it but not make it white like that. So it's still hopefully looks a bit metallic-y, but not too shiny, because as I say, there's no light for it to catch in the same way as there would be in a daytime. Like that. There we go. I'm going quite quickly. As I say, I feel like with this sort of sketchy style that it sort of encourages me to move quite fast in my colouring. It's maybe I'm just being a bit weird. I don't know. I've just been for a walk in the autumn colour. It's very pretty. Just along the canal path down to the local supermarket. Nothing too fancy, but yeah, it was rather nice. So I'm going back to my burnt umber just to do the darker areas. So under here you can just mark. We don't have to do this bit and make it really dark, but you know, we can just go over the top of these areas that are a bit darker. Like that, with a bit of colour. But again, as I say, you don't have to do this. You can just let the lines underneath do the talking, as it were. There we go. Yeah, I think that'll do. And if you look at the picture, they're sort of nearish. It'll do. Our picture's got a sort of red tinge over the whole thing, which I'm going to avoid a little bit on my fireplace wood, because I want that to look wood, not red. But yeah, in our fireplace, you can see the bottom looks quite grey here. and then this bit looks quite red. So we'll do this greyish bit first because I think it'll be easier. So this bit under here and up to that line there is all quite grey. I think we use, which is quite a bluish grey. So we use a warm grey 4. Here we go. Now getting it looking as dark as in the picture can be difficult. Hang on, let me just fold my piece of paper down. Just fold it up. There we go. So you can see it is really very dark. We don't have to go as dark, but right here, look, looks almost black. We've got the shadow from the logs here, and then it's a bit lighter here. There's some shadows going across here. These are marked on here already. So I'm just going to start with my pencil and move quite fast, like that. And you want to be able to see these shadows through what you're doing. If they don't show, you can you can put some black on there after to really you know, make them show up. But and here as well. Now it's quite what's the word, daring, to start with quite a dark colour and put down quite a hard layer, which is what I'm doing. But that we do actually need it even darker than this. So you just have to try and be brave, really, and go for it. But also a larger area can be more difficult because your hands get tired and you sort of run out of steam, as it were. But we're just doing this small area. So that's my initial layer. Now this does look quite bluey, so I am going to put a bit of blue on here. I'm going to go for the indigo blue because it's really very dark, a dark indigo, sorry. And I'm going to put it on top. Now it's going to end up looking quite blue, but we're going to put another colour on top again, and then it will go to hopefully more of a bluey grey. So we're going to end up layering 3 colours, I think, probably. I quite like this bluey hint. Now if you feel that you want to stray away from the colours that are on the picture, do so. It isn't set in stone. And also I feel that because every page is quite similar, because if you think about, I've done a flip through the book, which you may have seen, but if you think about the poem, Night Before Christmas, you know, Father Christmas is in the house most of the time, so everything is going to be the same. You don't have to colour it all the same all the time. You can do it a bit differently if you get bored, you know. So that was a grey brown, a warm grey, wasn't it? I'm going to use a cold grey now. I know it's a bit odd, but why not? So cold grey 5. Now I'm just going to do another layer over the top here with a 5. And hopefully we'll get a sort of hint of bluey, browny grey. A bit of everything really, haven't we, here? Now I've decided to go in this side-to-side direction. I'm not sure why. I feel like this is stone and it might have a bit of a, I'm thinking slate, sometimes has little streaks across it. So I'm thinking I can get away with doing it this direction. And then if I leave a line that's showing, then it'll be fine. Now I'm finding that I feel like I'm almost filling the tooth on this paper already. So I think if you want to go dark, you're going to have to start with a dark colour, because it might be tricky to darken it. So if you see how shiny it is already, can you see? That indicates that I think indicates the tooth of the paper is almost full up. But it is quite a smooth paper. But the Polychromos do go down well on it, which is good, because some smooth papers, they're nasty. Right, we're going to use some black just to go over the shadows a little bit more. So here it is, our black, and we can just use what's there as a guide. So just going over this bit. There, so that's that bit. As you can see, it isn't really that similar, but I think I like it. That's the main thing. Now inside our fireplace we have this brick. If you look carefully at the picture, if I hold it a bit closer, you can see there's a brick pattern in it. Now what I'm going to do is do all my colour first and then decide if I want to put that brick pattern in it or not. We'll see. So I'm going to move my book down a bit. Come out tad, there we go. Now we've got, you can't see this very well, so we've got this really deep red. Now I feel that this is quite close to the Indian red, so I'm going to start with a layer of Indian red across the whole thing. Okay. And something we don't have drawn in is the lines here and here, the sort of corners, so we need to do that as well at some point, but we'll just do a layer of Indian red first, if I can find it. No, that's not it. Here it is. I am wondering if the burnt carmine might be better, but I don't think it is. I think this is the colour I want, Indian red. Okay, so just fill the whole of this inside fireplace piece firstly. Now because we've got bricks, I'm trying to think which direction. I don't think I'm going to worry, I'm just going to go for it. Now again, it might look a little bit brighter and a little bit more colourful than the picture that I've got. I don't mind. Because although it's night time, you know, it could be moonlight, candlelight, you know, who knows how late it is. Oh, I think it says actually, doesn't it? Maybe it says in the poem. Is it midnight in the poem? I can't remember. What I find most fascinating about this poem is that a lot of our ideas about Father Christmas came from this poem, which I love. The idea, the reindeer, for example, their names, although their names differ. I think some poems have slightly different names for two of the reindeer. I can't remember which is, oh, it's Dander, one of them is called, and I think we say Donna, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, or is it Dancer? Is Dander? I don't know. But anyway, I find that quite interesting. Now this is looking quite liney. I think I can improve that later, but I'm just going to get this colour on and then look into that after. Because I think it's going to benefit from having bricks drawn on it, definitely. So I'm going to do that in a bit. It's not going to be as hard as it might seem. Just get this colour in. Cat is very cute, isn't it? I don't think we'll have to do much with the cat. There's so much shading work on it already. I think we'll be able to just colour it in grey. I think it's grey. It's a very interesting drawing technique. I've never coloured a page with this sort of drawing before. You can see how I'm getting lighter because my hand's getting tired and my pencil's getting less sharp. So that might be happening to you as well. I'm just going to sharpen up actually. But it's okay. It will get sorted. I think that might be the corner there. I need a straight edge to mark my corners in really. I'm don't know if I've got one in here. I might have to get a ruler. I may have one. We used to always have loads of rulers about the place. Spare rulers for children, for pencil cases and things like that. And now they're at uni, they don't need them. And they seem to all gone. Sometimes I think I used to supply the whole of the school with rulers because they would leave them behind and people would borrow them and never give them back and things like that. Right, I'm just going to fill in this. It looks pretty horrible, but it will come together. I am confident because I've done it before. I'm just going to see if I've got a ruler. No. Okay. Have I got a straight edge of any sort? Not really. Only a bookmark. I've got a card. Piece of cardboard. That'll do. Right. Our corner. Now our corner lines up. If you look at our picture, this corner lines up with the edge of there. Can you see? So that's why I'm going to do it like that. Try and get it parallel. What I do for parallel is line it up with a straight line and then pull it back as evenly as I can until it's there. I'm going to get my black. So this is 9. I know it's, and draw quite a light line along my piece of cardboard like that. I don't know if you can see that line that I've drawn. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Let's have a look. The line joins that sort of edge of there, so it's about here. So we'll take this in until we're about there. Yeah, it's about level with the toe of the stocking there. And put that line in there. Now I'm going to colour that line in. But because now I'm doing it without the ruler, I've got to go all the way. How does it work in the bottom? Can't see, it's too dark to take it down. Because I'm not using my makeshift ruler, the line isn't exactly straight and I think it looks a little bit more natural, although I would expect a chimney to actually have a straight line, but yeah. There we go, there's our sort of corner. Now on our top, if we look here, this top bit is quite dark and we've got a line. This line doesn't even look straight. Maybe it just about is. So we need to make this sort of top bit a little bit darker, and this bit's lighter look, and then that bit's darker, and that bit underneath is darker. So I'm going to use my black to help me here. So I'm going to go down to about goes dark to about here. So I'm going to just get this. Make it darker. It's below the stockings, about here. I haven't gone too hard yet, but just sort of marking it out. Now either side of this line is a bit darker too. Dark down here. Underneath is quite dark. Down here, under here, and along here. Okay, now it's a little bit darker above here but not quite so, I'm going to press lighter with my black and just put a little bit here, like that. Okay, let me try and make this look a bit more cornery, which is quite hard. I think there'd be a bit of a fade out from there as well. Okay, now we're going to go back to our Indian red and tidy it up. Okay, giving it a sharpen. I'm going to deal with each area, a small area at a time like this, to try to burnish it a little bit more and just make it a bit neater. Now, because Polychromos don't smush, you can just see through what we've done already. So if there's a line that you're not happy with, that's too dark or too light, whatever, you might have to go back in with your black as well to just alter it a little bit. Now I need actually to put a bit more black here. So this corner. Little cat. Do you think the cat's asleep? Cute cat, isn't he? Now I think this is going to end up a little bit lighter than the picture. Again, like our fire dogs did. And I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to go crossways here because we've got these lines. I'm hoping if we go across as well, we might just be able to eliminate them a little bit. And I haven't forgotten about the bricks. We'll get that done in a bit. Let's make sure we've got a nice solid line along that edge there. It can be quite daunting, I find, copying somebody else's picture. I find it's actually worse than trying to do it on your own sometimes, because you feel like you've got to be as good as them or exactly the same as them. I'm trying to just be chilled about it and just do it my own way, using theirs as a sort of guide, but not completely. It's quite nice to know where to put the shadows and what colour to do stuff, because you have to think about it. But on the other hand, I don't want to get het up with the fact that it's not perfect and it's not going to look exactly like theirs. I don't know what theirs is coloured with, whether it's what media they've used. I can't tell whether it's paint or pencil or what. So that would make quite the difference to the finish. Now I'm going to draw the bricks on. Now they aren't quite as dark as the corner lines, which I'm actually going to darken this corner here with my black a bit more. But they are still there, so we need to put them in. Alright, I am going to again use my trusty card. So we need to do them straight across here. It will also help us with the showing that this is the side, because we'll do straight lines across here. Getting them even and the same size from each other is very difficult without us. You're not using a see-through ruler. Those are a bit close together. It's much easier to do a stone brick wall when it doesn't matter. They're not the same size apart. You could measure this. Probably be very sensible to measure it. Okay, all the way to the top. And then we have to put these in, these bits. Yeah, mine are far too close together. If you you can do them a bit further apart, but I think it will be okay. So when you're doing these sorts of bricks, they don't line up, so you have to put your downward ones at intervals. There's no rocket science, it's not a specific science, sorry, it is hard. You have to just learn to offset them. That one's too narrow, but it's done now. I'm not going to get too worried about it. We need to do this underneath as well. Even though it's quite dark, put a line there, put a few through, like that, and a few lines there. Now our side is a slight angle. Here the bricks are a slight angle. It's too difficult for you to see. So to try, it's slightly like that. I think. No, it's going upwards like that. That's it. Just a slightly angled upwards past our corner line. To join them to every horizontal. That one's so narrow. As I say, you're probably better off measuring them. Do them like, I don't know, a centimetre or something. Probably. You know, this is, as I say, this is the first page from this book that I've done, so I'm sort of learning as I go, really. And again, offset their downward lines. And it has given a better impression that the wall is that way, to me anyway. Might be hard for you to see. We want to do the sort of opposite angle on this side. Where's the line? Can't see the line. There we go. Try not to go over the edge like I have. We may have to make them up down here because we haven't got any. And put some downward lines in. They don't need to be massively clear because they aren't in the original picture, but it just helps give that impression, I think, that we've got like two corners sloping inwards and then the dark coming down from the top of the chimney. Now what you could do now, if you wish, is to colour each brick one at a time to give it a little bit more form. I've got a lot of bricks on mine, so doing it a bit darker on the edge like that, a bit less to the middle, like that, all the way on every brick. You don't have to do this if it feels like it's going to make it too much work, but it is a way of just helping us to see that brick pattern. But because I've drawn it a bit wonky, it's going to emphasise the wonkiness. But if you've measured yours and drawn it right, then you should be fine. That's that line now. There we go, and I will just be working right through, and it will just tidy it up a little bit, so hopefully we won't see these stripes so much. But as I say, you don't have to do this, you can leave it just as it was if you prefer. You might find it takes away from the shadowiness of the picture a bit, because we're adding, you know, a layer of the lighter red again. But we'll see how it works out as we go through. I quite like the idea of just defining each brick. You can make them darker in between each one if you wish, but I quite like my black just being a bit of a guideline, because mortar doesn't usually tend to be black. It tends to actually usually be lighter than the brick. So although it's drawn as darker in our original picture, I'm not too worried about making it really dark. And I think doing this makes it look a bit older and as well, rather than these lines being too straight. If you look at bricks, they're not normally really straight. And we'll just work through. We've got a lit fire in one of the pictures, so it'll be a bit different again. So obviously the light would be very different from a glow of a fire, whereas at the moment obviously this one isn't lit. I think this is waiting. It's quite strange as fire gets lit later in the poem. I don't really know why. But anyway, I guess Father Christmas lights it, I don't know, but I think he would struggle to get back up the chimney with a lit fire. I used to get so worried as a child. We didn't have a fireplace, an open fire. Our fireplace was locked in, and we had a sort of gas fire in the gap. So my mum told me that he had a magic key that let him through back door of every house, so he could just get in even if he didn't have a fireplace. You see how we're getting? I think it's looking better, yeah. But it does take a bit of work, so, you know, as I say, I have to put in this much work and do this much, but I prefer it. I think it's worth it. And it isn't hard once you've got it marked out. As I say, if you measure it, it'll look a lot better, because I've got a really thin one here which is going to look a bit strange. I'm just sharpening up a bit and giving my hand a rest. I'll just move my makeshift ruler. That's actually a card that my husband made me, which he made me blank so I could colour it in. I've never coloured it in, I just use it as a bookmark. I like it. I don't want it coloured in. That's it, mushrooms. I don't know, I just thought it looked nice. Although I did colour in his bookmarks, which he did. These were on a video. Towers and Gardens bookmark, and they're a free download from his Ko-fi, so you can go and download them, and you don't have to colour them, you can just print them out and use them. But it's fun colouring them, I thought. I found it fun anyway. Yeah, these are a bit narrow. Just pretend, definitely. I can't, if I had two narrow ones together I could try and incorporate them, but I think it'll be alright. That's a very long brick there. A bit too long. I'm going to put a gap in it. There we go. You can see where it's darker, my red isn't showing up as much, but I'm happy with that idea. I think when I'm done I might need a bit more shadow behind our logs to make them look like they're a bit further forward, because sometimes when you do a background with lots of detail it can stand out a bit too much from the foreground, and we don't want that. We want this to try and make this sit back so it does look like it's behind. Just gonna make sure I've got some colour around there. Oh, I know I said fire dogs, some people might not know what they are. They're actually something that looks a bit like this, but you use it to rest your poker on by the fire. Usually brass. But usually you would put your logs in a metal basket or something, not just over this. I mean, if that, it might fall down. Perhaps they don't mind. I don't know. My son was remarking on how far forward this leg is. Like, the logs are really near the front. You would really want them tucked further in, I would have thought. You don't want to risk them falling out down into the room. But hey, it's just a picture. I think that looks a lot better. I'm going to do a little bit at the bottom, which might not, I don't think it's going to show up because it's so dark down here, but I feel like I need to have a go. But no, it's not really showing up, but I'm going to do these side bits. I can't really work out what I've drawn. These bricks quite thin on the side, but never mind. I'm struggling to make it show up very much, but I'm going to persevere through and just do it anyway. I know I'm doing this video actually for my friend Mary, who gave me this book, and she's been struggling with getting her colours dark enough, and I think there is very little tooth in the paper, so I think it's quite hard to get the colours dark, and because the book is dark, that makes it quite tricky. So I think, as I said earlier, I'm going to have to start with a dark colour so that you've got, you know, it's dark enough, or just be accepting that it's not going to be quite as dark as in the guide pictures. That bit is so dark you can't see it, because I think it's not going to show up. But for paper with little tooth, there isn't, as far as I'm aware, a particular pencil that's any better than any other. I have heard that if you add a layer of, if you add a layer of fixative on top, you can add more layers of colour, but I don't really want to do that here. I can still see some white paper though, so it makes me, like here, so it makes me think that there must be some tooth left. But anyway, I'm going back in with my black, and I'm just going to darken behind here a little bit more. I know we've spent time getting those tiles, bricks looking separated, but I think it will still work. It is going on okay, and down here I struggled to get those bricks looking separate. I'm just going to put some dark down there. And I'm going to sit back and look and see whether it looks, I think it looks reasonably three-dimensional. Now here's the original picture. There's mine. There's nothing like it, but I don't mind. There we go. Right, I'm going to do the cat and then make that us today because we've got going on. I might do the poker as well. So I want to just try the cat, and I want to do it in quite a light-ish grey colour actually. It looks reasonably light in the picture, really. We've got this sort of reddish colour, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use a warm grey 3. Just go over the cat completely with this. See how she looks. She? What do you think? She? Because I don't want her to go, if I use a darker grey, she's going to go really dark. But the dark colours, the shadows are already marked on her. So I can just do that. And there she is. It's quite simple. I'm going to do the poker while I've got the colours out that I want to use for it. So in our picture, we've got a dark shadow across this bottom half of our picture. I don't know why. I think that's potentially showing us that there's some moonlight coming in the window, and the window is above this point in the opposite. I'm probably going to just ignore that because, to be honest, I think it looks a little bit weird. But what it means is that our poker is only light here and it's darker shaded down here. I'm just going to do the whole thing lighter, just like these things. So I've got my dark burnt umber to start with, like I did with these, to draw in the shadowy bit. But I'm just going to be quite careful. I'm calling it a poker. I don't know what it is. Right around the edge. And I don't know if that's its shadow or if that is the edge of it. In my picture it's all just dark. So I think I'm going to draw it as if it's it. I don't know what it is. And then my slightly lighter brown ochre. So just going in a bit. What I want to do is make the centre look a little bit shiny or lighter colour. Like that. Oh, it's lunchtime as well. Good time to stop. And then our green gold. I'm actually just going to fit it all in, I think. Remember, we don't want a white bit because there isn't light. I think it looks much nicer in that colour than just looking quite black there. So there we go. Let's come out so you can see it from further away, which I think it always looks better from further away. There it is so far. So it took a while, but I'm not in a rush to get this done. And I think some parts will be easier than others, so we'll see. But that is the Fireplace cat poker bit done. We'll come back. I don't know what we'll do next time. I'll decide. I'm going to make this dark wood. I'm not going to colour it as light. I think in the picture it's marble, maybe. It's sort of light. And we've got these bits which look like it's marble. But this to me looks like it would be wood and the panelling. So I'm going to colour it in wood. So that'll be maybe next. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope that you have a really super day and happy colouring.